Hi ladies, I'm Shirley with Feminine Alchemy. The other day I found a poster online that read, magic is something you make. Well, actually it wasn't the other day, it was several months ago actually. Magic is something you make. And it resonated with me because at that time I was working on the 4 feminine power types. I was working on some new material for the 4 feminine power types, which is what we're talking about now. And one of them, of course, is the magician. So it it stuck with me. Magic is something you make. It's something I've always believed, that we make the lives that we want. We make things happen in our lives, yes? And I've always been fascinated by the idea of magic, things happening as if by magic. I know from experience that things don't just fall into place. I know that you have to do the work in advance. You have to set things up, put things in place for the things to fall into place. It's a funny play on words. And that's what magic is all about. Because magic is when things just work, when the most amazing things, the things you didn't expect, the things you want most in the world just happen. When that happens, it's because your magician is working. And if you remember, the 4 feminine power types are artist, scientist, magician, and then, of course, the alchemist. The magician is the 3rd feminine power type. She exists in the realm of pure possibility. She's about possibility, outcome, results. And timing, therefore, is important to her. Timing, making sure things are coordinated so that when everything is right, they just happen. And things will just, so often you feel off. Things are not happening. You're doing everything you can, everything you think you should, and not getting results. And often it's because the time is not just quite right. Your timing is off. You're a little bit too early, a little bit too late. The magician, though, she is sensible and wise. And if you allow her to work, she will focus you on the when of your living, on the when to do things. If you tap into your magician, because your magician is so conscientious and careful about timing and making sure everything is right, you tap into her when you take the lead, when you are functioning in spheres of influence and authority, in relationships, and how you are in the world, how you want to be seen in the world. Because your magician is the leader, or better yet, she is the power. She is the guide behind the leader. She guides you. You lead and she guides you. Your magician is intuitive and she's searching. She delves deep into matters, deeper even than your scientist does. I mean, your scientist figures out how things work. Your magician figures out how they work when. Because they don't just work, they have to work at a specific time. Yes? Your magician is also your counselor. She's your advisor. She's your guide. She is the mysterious place at the core of you. She moves when the time is right. She observes, she investigates, she plans, she puts pieces in place, and then she moves. And she's like lightning. She gets things in place so that when the time is right, there's no delay. Things just happen. She, like I said, is the wise one. And when she moves, she is quick, focused, effective. Because she is bright, active power. Things light up and move in the presence of the magician. So there are times when you feel off. You don't feel quite yourself. When, we're not quite ill. Things are not going right. They're not flowing. We're doing everything we can and things just are not working right. And when that happens, it's probably because we are not listening to our magician. If we're not making headway on some project or in our work in general or some other area of our life, no matter how hard we try, it's quite likely because we are not paying attention. We are not listening to the signs and the signals. When we let our magician work, she listens. The magician is a listener. She pays very close attention to the signs and the signals that so often we miss in the hubbub of living. We're distracted, we're focused on something else, and we miss the signs and signals on other things that are actually quite important. So when we allow our magician to operate, she keeps us on our game. She acts on the signs and signals. For example, you feel sluggish and tired and just not up to par. Your body just is not working right. Yet you continue to not eat well, you continue to not get enough sleep, that kind of thing. You're not taking care, you're not listening to your body. And what is going to happen is that eventually you'll fall ill. I mean, that's how it works. But if you listen to the signs and signals, and I'm making this really, really simple. This is an easy to understand example. Your body's not working right, and yet you keep pushing it. You don't rest. You don't take care of yourself. You don't look after yourself. And women do that a lot just because we have houses and homes and families and work and all kinds of things to coordinate. And so we ignore ourselves. When you pay attention, though, to your magician, when you listen to the signs and signals, and you allow your magician to be in active mode all the time, she opens you up to what's going on in your life. She keeps you clear and organized and focused and makes sure you respond to what happens, what's happening in the world around you. That is how she opens us up to the mystical, the spiritual, the natural worlds. She opens them up to us and opens us up to them in all kinds of marvelous ways. Give your magician the space. Give your magician her space to thrive. Give your magician her space. Give her space to thrive. Pay attention to her. Be careful with your timing. Allow your magician, and she will take you on those journeys that make it possible for us to access the universe. Those are the journeys that make it possible for us to access and enjoy and engage in and benefit from the universe of creativity and transformation that the alchemist guides us through, the alchemist governs. So our magician lifts us up to our alchemist. Remember that the artist, scientist, and magician, they work alone, they work in combinations, and together they they create within us and in our lives the conditions for our alchemist to operate.